In the clear waters off the coast of Spain, two close friends, Richard and Denisio, were about to start an underwater adventure. They were excited and ready to explore a deep and mysterious cave called Cova dels Arquets. But they didn't know that this dive would turn into a terrifying and tragic nightmare. Was it a monster lurking in the depths, or something far more terrifying? This is the gruesome story of Richard and Denisio. But let me tell you first, who are Richard and Denisio? Richard and Denisio were close friends with a shared love for diving. Richard, 35 years old, was a marine biologist. He had been diving for over 10 years and was passionate about exploring underwater ecosystems. Denisio, 33 years old, was an underwater photographer. He was well known for capturing beautiful images of marine life and had been diving almost as long as Richard. Together, they had dived in many locations worldwide, always eager to discover new places and take on new challenges. Their friendship was built on trust and mutual respect. They had shared many adventures, both above and below the water, and had developed a strong bond. Diving together had always been a joy for them, combining their skills and passions into a shared experience that brought them closer. When and where did this happen? The tragic dive took place in the summer of 2014. Richard and Denisio decided to explore Cova dels Arquets, a limestone cave located in the Montgrí area, Spain. This cave is popular among divers for its beauty and relatively easy accessibility. The entrance to the cave is about 10 meters or 33 feet below the sea surface, making it a well-known spot for both beginner and experienced divers. Cova dels Arquets is about 80 meters or 262 feet in length. Its clear waters and interesting geological formations attract many underwater photographers and divers. However, it also has a less explored part, a small, muddy cavity that lies towards the end of the cave. This section had never been fully explored due to its obscurity and the potential dangers it posed. The divers' relationship and experience. Richard and Denisio had a long history of diving together. Their friendship, combined with their extensive experience, made them a formidable team. Richard's background in marine biology gave him a deep understanding of underwater environments, while Denisio's skill in photography allowed him to capture stunning images of their dives. They both loved the thrill of exploring the unknown and had completed many challenging dives in the past. They were meticulous in their planning and always took safety seriously. However, the excitement of discovering new places sometimes pushed them to take risks. They'd been diving partners for years, and their trust in each other was unshakable. This trust would be put to the ultimate test during their fateful dive in Cova dels Arquets. The dive site, Cova dels Arquets. Cova dels Arquets is a limestone cave located in the Montgrí area. It is approximately 80 meters or 262 feet long. The cave is known for its clear waters and beautiful geological formations, making it a favorite among underwater photographers and divers. The entrance to the cave is about 10 meters or 33 feet below the surface of the sea. The cave's main attraction is its accessibility and good visibility, which makes it a popular dive site for locals. Divers can fall to the bottom of the marine area for about 50 to 60 meters before reaching the cave's entrance. Once inside, the cave descends into a series of chambers, each more intriguing than the last. However, towards the end of the cave, there is a smaller opening leading to a muddy cavity. This part of the cave had remained unexplored due to its obscurity and the potential dangers it posed. No one had successfully passed through this opening, as visibility could be completely lost depending on the sea conditions. The beginning of the dive. On the morning of their dive, Richard and Denisio were filled with excitement. They had been planning this dive for months and were eager to explore the unexplored part of Cova dels Arquets. They meticulously checked their equipment, ensuring everything was in perfect working order. They knew this dive would be challenging, but their excitement overshadowed any fears they might have had. As they dived into the clear blue waters, Richard and Denisio felt a rush of excitement. The initial part of the dive went smoothly. They navigated through the well-lit sections of the cave, enjoying the beauty around them. The sunlight penetrated the water, creating a magical underwater landscape that captivated them. However, as they ventured deeper into the cave, the light began to fade, and the cave's true nature revealed itself. The walls were made of soft clay, and the floors were covered in fine silt. Any disturbance could cloud the water, making navigation nearly impossible. Despite these challenges, Richard and Denisio pressed on, determined to reach the unexplored part of the cave. The encounter with the smaller opening. After swimming about 60 meters into the cave, Richard and Denisio reached the smaller opening that led to the muddy cavity. They paused, exchanging glances filled with both excitement and apprehension. This was the moment they had been preparing for. The passage was narrow and visibility was already starting to decrease. They knew that entering this part of the cave would be risky. The soft clay walls and fine silt on the cave floor posed significant challenges. Any disturbance could stir up the silt, reducing visibility to zero. But despite the potential dangers, Richard and Denisio were determined to explore this unexplored part of the cave. They carefully made their way through to the smaller opening, trying to minimize any disturbances. The passage was tight, and they had to squeeze through at times. The darkness was almost complete, with only their flashlights providing a small circle of light in the overwhelming blackness. They were now in a part of the cave that few had ever seen, driven by their passion for exploration and discovery. The descent into danger. As they ventured further into the smaller opening, the conditions worsened. The silt on the cave floor was easily disturbed, clouding the water and reducing visibility to almost nothing. Richard and Denisio found themselves in a completely dark and disorienting environment. Their flashlights were barely enough to see a few feet ahead, and the cave's narrow passageways made it difficult to navigate. Despite the challenges, they continued, driven by their desire to explore. They had come too far to turn back now. However, the further they went, the more dangerous the situation became. The air in their tanks was slowly running out, and the visibility was getting worse with each movement. Without a guideline to help them navigate back, they had to rely on their instincts and memory. This was a critical mistake, as the cave's complex structure and poor visibility made it easy to get lost. They were now in a part of the cave where no one had been before, with no clear way out. The crisis unfolds. At approximately 70 meters into the cave, disaster struck. The silt on the cave floor was stirred up, creating a thick cloud that completely obscured their vision. Richard and Denisio were disoriented and panicked, unable to see their hands in front of their faces. They tried to stay calm, but the situation was dire. Their oxygen levels were dangerously low, and they had no idea which way was out. They frantically searched for any sign of the entrance, but the thick silt made it impossible to see anything. The walls of the cave felt like they were closing in, adding to their sense of panic and desperation. Richard's strength was waning, and Denisio was struggling to keep him afloat. The confined space and lack of fresh air were taking their toll, and hours had passed, and their situation grew more desperate. They were running out of options and knew that their chances of survival were slim. The final struggle. As the hours passed, Richard and Denisio's situation became increasingly desperate. They were trapped in the cave, with no clear way out and their oxygen supplies dwindling. The silt-filled water made it impossible to see, and the cave's complex structure left them disoriented and lost. Richard's condition was worsening. He was struggling to breathe, and his movements were becoming sluggish. Despite Denisio's efforts to keep him afloat, Richard eventually succumbed to the harsh conditions. He slept below the surface, leaving Denisio alone in the dark, cold water. Denisio, now barely conscious, clung to a slim hope of rescue. He found a small air pocket, a tiny space where he could breathe and rest for a moment. The situation was dire, but the small respite gave him a glimmer of hope. He knew that he needed to hold on, even though his strength was fading and the odds were against him. Denisio's rescue. Miraculously, rescue divers, alerted by their friends, arrived just in time. Denisio was found clinging to the air pocket, barely conscious but still alive. The rescue operation was dangerous and challenging, but the divers managed to bring Denisio to the surface, narrowly escaping with his life. The rescue team had been searching for hours, navigating through the silt-filled water and complex cave structure. They finally found Denisio, who was in a state of shock and exhaustion. The team carefully brought him to the surface, where he received immediate medical attention. Sadly, Richard did not survive the ordeal. His body was recovered later by the rescue team, and the loss was a devastating blow to all who knew him, especially Denisio, who had witnessed his friend's final moments. The aftermath and reflection. The tragic event serves as a stark reminder of the inherent dangers of cave diving. Richard and Denisio's story highlights the importance of proper preparation and the use of safety measures. They had entered the cave without a guideline, which ultimately led to their disorientation and entrapment. Denisio, although traumatized, made a remarkable recovery. The experience left a lasting impact on him, and he became an advocate for diving safety, sharing his story to help others avoid similar tragedies. He emphasized the importance of proper training, preparation, and the use of safety equipment. The diving community mourned the loss of Richard, but his legacy lived on through Denisio's efforts to promote safety and awareness. Their story is a poignant reminder of the risks involved in such adventures and the importance of always prioritizing safety. Richard and Denisio's passion for diving and exploration led them into the unknown with devastating consequences. Their story is a poignant reminder of the risks involved in such adventures. If you found the story compelling, please subscribe to our channel for more gripping tales of adventure and survival. Thank you for watching. If you want to hear more stories like this, be sure to check out our next video, and don't forget to hit the subscribe button to stay updated with our latest content.